Hello, I'm Refilwe Madumo, and this is Mama Mantics. It's nighttime. I just put my kids to bed, and I've struggled quite a bit with making this installation of this show. The state of the world, the state of the country right now is very concerning. This episode was supposed to be about our guilt as parents, about the ways that we overcompensate with our children, the ways that we feel we are not enough, and what we do to try and close up those holes. But I couldn't go forward without addressing what we look like as people right now, what the world looks like, what South Africa looks like. It's carnage. I'm lucky enough to have my children with me tonight. I hugged them, I put them to sleep. And as I kissed them goodnight, I thought about all the mothers and fathers whose children are missing. I thought about all the families that have lost a loved one. I thought about Tsukufazopule, who was hung from a tree while she was pregnant. I thought about Amahle, who's been missing for a year and 3 months. I thought about Collins Koza, who got murdered in his yard, and so many others. We say with such conviction, we talk about Black Lives Matter, we scream George Floyd's name, we write his name on our timelines, which is completely justified. The way that he died was chilling. But we don't have the same kind of energy for the blood that flows on our own streets. We don't have the same kind of energy for our counterparts and our equals, our African brothers and sisters. We don't have the same kind of energy for the Ethiopians, the Nigerians, the Somalis, the Pakistanis, everybody who's here with us trying to make a life for themselves. We don't have the same kind of energy for them. In fact, we fight back. When they are brought up in the conversation, we fight back. Their lives don't matter as much as ours, because this is our land, this is our home. What makes them less human? What makes them less human than us? What makes them less human than us? What makes them not belong on African soil, where their grandmothers and grandfathers still lay? What makes them less human? That's what I'm thinking about tonight. Those are the things that made me feel guilty tonight. We have a responsibility to our children to teach them to love themselves first, and to love everybody else like they would love themselves. We all want our children to thrive. We want them to succeed. We want them to grow up to be valuable members in our society. And that begins in their infancy. the way that we raise them, the way that we spend time with them, the things that we say around them, what we teach them. Those are the things that stay imprinted in their minds. There's no reason to teach them hate. There's no reason to bring into their consciousness xenophobia, transphobia, homophobia, all the isms and schisms. So we need to check ourselves first so that we can create humans that bring value to other humans and to themselves. I always say to my children, when we say I love you to each other every day, I say, I love you, Mako. I love you, Rara. And they say, I love you, Mama. And I say, how much do you love yourself? And they have to say, whether they feel it in that moment or not, they have to say, I love myself the most. And I feel like in that way, in that small little way, they're being taught that they're important. They're being taught that they're enough. They're being taught that what their feelings matter. Who they are matters. And I hope that's something that you can carry forward for your kids. To teach them to love themselves, and in that way for them to be solid enough to know that there's no reason for them to have animosity with anybody else. May we be well. May we find the ways to speak to ourselves with love. May we spread it to each other, to our children, to everyone around us. May we walk step by step, knowing that we're trying to make a better world, a better country for our children, and that the steps that we're taking now are what makes that possible. Have a good night. Hold your children tight. I'll see you again. You're doing well, Mama.